So today we're diving into something a little different. It's a modern parable, but it's been written to feel like some kind of ancient recovered text. And it's not really a story, you know? It's more like a verdict being read aloud. It's called The Verdict of the Sapphire Jester. And it presents this really chilling philosophical judgment from a world that runs on a logic that's, well, pretty terrifying. Let's explore this verdict together.
Wow. Okay, right off the bat, that one line just drops us into a world that is deeply unsettling, right? I mean, a judge who laughs, this tells you immediately we're not talking about a place where justice is about fairness. It's about something else entirely. It's about consumption. And the sound of judgment, it's not a gavel. It's this chilling, grinding laughter.
Okay, so to really get what the Jester's verdict is all about, we've got to understand the universe he comes from. And this is key. It's not a universe built on creation. No, this place is built on a relentless, all-encompassing hunger. The core philosophy here is called the Gospel of the Belly. So what's the currency in a universe like this? It's something called luch. Think of it as the raw energy of a soul. You know, your identity, your memories, all your experiences, everything that makes you you, it's all just distilled down into a single resource. And the chilling part? In this universe, your soul isn't sacred at all. It's just fuel for this monstrous thing called the all-consuming maw. And this gospel of the belly, it frames existence in the most brutal terms imaginable. It's basically a theology where the ultimate truth is the stomach. I mean, it's pretty much the bleakest kind of nihilism you can imagine. The idea that all our values are baseless, that life is totally meaningless. It's a zero-sum game of predator and prey where being alive just means you're waiting for your turn to be eaten. This analogy really drives home just how horrifyingly impersonal this whole system is. Your life, your story, everything that makes you unique, it means absolutely nothing. The maw is like a blast furnace, just devouring coal. It doesn't care about the history of the coal, right? It just wants the energy that's released when it's destroyed. And that's exactly what you are to the maw. And there's a name for this whole process: the metabolization of identity. Just think about that. The very things we hold sacred, our individuality, our ability to reason, the stories we tell, in this universe, they're seen as flaws, a bug in the system. That spark that makes you special, it's just seasoning to make the fuel taste better. In the end, everything that makes you you just gets ground down into uniform ash to feed a starving void. So who is at the very center of this whole philosophy? Well, there's one single, terrifying figure. He's the judge, he's the jury, and he's the high priest of this all-consuming world. He is the Sapphire Jester, the prophet of Annihilation. And this is how he opens his court. You still fear being nothing. That is your last superstition. Just let that sink in. He's taking our most basic, fundamental instinct, the drive to live, to exist, and he's calling it a superstition. He's telling us that our desire to simply be is the last, silly little flaw we need to get rid of. And in the Jester's court, it doesn't matter what you've done, good, bad, completely irrelevant. The crime is simply existing. The charge isn't for something you did, it's for the fact that you are. Can you imagine? Your verdict is sealed the moment you show up. And he just keeps going, aiming right at the heart of who we are. He takes your identity, your ego, everything you think of as me, and he says it's not a treasure, it's a commodity. To this universe, to the stomach, you're not a person. You're just fuel. And here's the final, chilling twist of the knife. Getting consumed, being annihilated, that's not a punishment for the crime of existing. Oh no, it's presented as a righteous act. It's a correction. It's how the system fixes the bug of you being an individual, and returns you to that perfect, silent void. You know, what might be the most disturbing part of this whole thing is how people react. Yeah, some people cursed him, but many applauded. And you have to ask, why? Why would anyone cheer for this? Well, it's because his sermon offers this seductive kind of relief. It's an escape from the crushing weight of freedom, of choice, of responsibility. When you're tired of carrying all that, suddenly chains start to look like clarity. And total erasure, that starts to feel like peace. Okay, but that's not the end of the story. The Jester's verdict isn't the only path on offer here. A counterargument pops up, but it's in the form of a different parable. And we're not in a silent city anymore. Now we're out in a vast, empty desert. So, Imagine this. A wanderer is presented with a choice. He can turn over an hourglass and he gets to relive his entire life. But here's the catch. It'll be exactly the same. Every single joy, every single failure, every moment of pain. It's a classic existential question, right? A test of what it really means to affirm your own life, warts and all. And the wanderer asks the exact question we're all thinking. Then why would anyone turn it? Seriously, what's the point? If you can't change a single thing, if you can't fix your mistakes or make the good times last longer, why on earth would you choose to go through all the struggle and pain all over again? See, the wanderer is looking for a way out. He's looking for forgiveness, for absolution. But the figure's answer it changes the entire game. There is no forgiveness here, only confirmation. This isn't about getting a pardon from someone else. It's about you confirming your own life. It's about looking at everything you are, the good and the bad, and finding the courage to say, yes, I would do it again. And he does it. The wanderer turns the hourglass, and something inside him shifts. He finds this internal kind of salvation. It's this quiet courage, the courage to accept your life, not as something you need to escape from, but as something you actively will into being. It's an incredibly powerful idea, this idea of loving your fate, no matter what it is. So what we have here are two parables that are in a direct, fundamental philosophical clash. They're giving us two totally opposed verdicts on what a life is worth. And that forces us, it forces you, to confront a really difficult choice. All right, let's just lay this out side by side. On one hand, you've got the Jester. He's offering the peace that comes from being erased, the clarity that comes from being in chains, and the correction of being annihilated. His goal for you? To become nothing. But then you've got the Wanderer. He chooses the path of responsibility, of confirmation, of affirmation. His goal isn't to escape his life, but to live one so fully that he'd be willing to do it all over again forever. And this is where it all comes back to us. This whole thing circles back to a really personal, really direct question. We're not talking about a sapphire jester or a desert wanderer anymore. We're talking about you. So the choice we're left with is between two profound burdens, really. The jester's path, it promises to end all your suffering, but the price is your very self. The wanderer's path, on the other hand, demands that you carry the full weight of who you are, all your mistakes, all your pain, and it offers you absolutely no guarantee of peace. And that's the final question, isn't it? It presents two verdicts. One offers peace without a self, the other, a self without peace. Which one is justice?